The cage door is locked and the lights are on. Welcome to Flamingo Fight Talk. I am your host today, Kelby Cedarquist, and with me today is Derek Strom. How are you doing today, buddy?
Good morning, good morning. Let's get ready for some fights. We are returning to Las Vegas at the Meta Apex for honestly a pretty sneaky good card. Aljamain Sterling takes on Youssef Zalal in the main event for UFC Fight Night. However, this was not the original main event. The original
What? No, it's
was
not.
who?
The original was Buckley versus. Oh my. I'm drawing the biggest blank right now.
I drew a blank too. That's why I asked you.
Brady versus Buckley.
Brady versus
Yeah.
Buckley. Oh, starting it off professional from the two of us here. So we have Aljamain Sterling, the number five ranked featherweight, taking on Youssef Zalal, the number seven ranked featherweight. Sterling, having moved up from Bantamweight after his loss to Sean O'Malley back in 2023, has actually only fought three times in the featherweight divisions, with a win over Calvin Kattar, a loss to Movsar Evloev, who's most likely getting the next title fight, and a win over Brian Ortega. A lot of grappling events, and that's one of those things. He's been in this division. He left bantamweight in August of 2019. Sorry, August 19th of 2023. Both struggling now, buddy. That's so funny. After
Yeah.
coming out, that, by the way, if he had beaten Sean O'Malley, that would have been his fourth bantamweight title defense. He did defend the belt three times, which is something I feel like he doesn't get the respect he deserves. But
No.
anyways, he's a featherweight now. I want the Volkanovski Sterling fight. I think it should have already happened. But now he is thoroughly behind Movsar Evloev. He cannot get a title fight until Movsar Evloev has had one. So he has to keep busy. And like you said, Youssef Zalal on the best streak of his career
Yeah.
right now. He's now come back to the UFC. He was previous in the UFC back in the early 20s and had to leave following a three-fight losing streak of Ilya Topuria, Sung Woo Choi, and Sean Woodson, plus a draw to Damon Blackshear. He left, went to Spartan FC, came back into the UFC in 2024, got a win over Billy Quarantillo, a pair of performance bonuses, a win over
Yes.
Calvin Kattar, and then an armbar over Josh Emmett. So he is on a five-fight win streak in the UFC now, having left it previously. You're right, he's on a career high. Aljamain Sterling is still out on his quest to get the featherweight belt, trying to stay relevant, which I think he is very much relevant in
Yes.
this, but just clearly behind Movsar. Important fight in the featherweight division. You know,
This is a very,
yeah, like, and such an important fight. Like, this is okay. Obviously, Movsar is next. After that, this could be the next featherweight challenger. Both fresh matchups for the champion too.
No, it's a good thing for the division to have two fresh meats. No matter who wins this fight, they're most likely going to be the up and coming next guy to contend for the title. Sterling's coming in at a negative 210 favorite, while Yusuf is at a plus 175, which is to me is kind of pretty much like a live underdog. I'd stay away from the bet
Zalal
there.
is a live dog, man.
Yeah.
He is. Like, do not count out Youssef Zalal.
No.
I am a Sterling fan. I want him to win. I'm sorry I interrupted.
Mhm.
But do not count out Youssef Zalal. Probably the most live underdog on the card.
Oh yeah, he 100% is definitely one of the live as underdogs on the card. That's why I'm saying stay away from this fight. I just would not put any money on this fight. This fight can go either way. Um, Yusuf can handle the. I think he can handle the relentless ground pressure from Sterling, but still can kind of overcome that, become the next big rising prospect. Not really prospect, but the next big contender in the division.
For sure, for sure. I mean, again, I'm going to just pull up the rankings really quick in the division here. Again, featherweight, number one, champions Alexander Volkanovski. Number one's Movsar Evloev.
Yeah.
Lopez at number 2, Lerone Murphy number 3, 4, Yair Rodriguez. Number 5, Aljamain Sterling. 6, John Silva. 7, Youssef Zalal. Now, in that mix, you got Lopez, you got Lerone Murphy off recent losses, Lopez and Murphy off losses. Yair, I believe, is booked to fight somebody soon. I can't remember who. And John Silva just got that win over in his last fight, didn't he?
Yes.
Over who? But regardless, it's a lot of look. Featherweight's starting to build up, and Volkanovski has to keep these guys down. Who knows if he'll be able to do it? Otherwise, we're going to see all these guys have to fight a wrestling nightmare in Movsari Bloya. But hey, I know Sterling lost to him once. If he can get back, I think he might be able to beat him regardless. So this is a fun fight.
Oh, this is a very, very fun fight. I'm still leaning. My final predictions on this fight for sure is still Aljo. You said the other guy is such a dog. I don't think he's as big of a dog as Aljo.
I meant underdog.
Oh, underdog. Yeah, no. Well, Aljo's just been in there. I mean, he's been one of the best champs
Yeah.
we've had in recent years in UFC. Actually, being able to defend the fight or to defend the title multiple times, it's very, very hard. I mean, even look at like the light heavyweight division. This is always being run through new guy, new guy, new guy, new guy up there. Even the other divisions, it's been getting more and more rare where we have somebody's a consistent champ, and we have a consistent champ fighting in a different division, and it's going to be very fun to see how he does. I think he's going to run up through the division and get back up to championship status. That's my prediction for him.
For sure, for sure. I mean, the other week, during the when Izzy fought Piper, we were talking about that. We went back like, Izzy defended like 4 times, guys. It's like, some of these guys, especially in the late 2010s, early 2020s, were kind of like, we had some negativity on some of the champions, and I know people didn't really care for Izzy at first. He had some boring title fights. I would blame most of that on like Cannonier and Yoel.
Yeah.
We had like Aljamain Sterling. Obviously, he got the knee by Piotr Jan, and then he beats Piotr Jan too, by the way. And but he never got credit for that. And Piotr's the champ again. Obviously, it was that loss to Sean O'Malley, who people were like, Sean's good, man. Like, Sean's good. It was a contentious fight. And, the best part about the Aljamain Sterling fight and the Sean O'Malley fight is that it truly introduced the funniest man in the UFC, Merab Dvalishvili, to everyone. Because that was the night he stole Sean's jacket, which was amazing. I still laugh about it today.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about that. Let's talk about this. Anything else on that main event? I'm excited for it. Youssef Zalal, huge step up for him. I mean, like, if he can put a name like Sterling under his belt, he need put him against someone like John Silva. Put him against, that's gonna be fun.
If he gets a dub, yeah, you have to put him up against somebody like a John Silva or a likeness like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to get into the next fight?
Yeah, so we're going to go into the next card. Now, let's be a little bit honest here, buddy. We don't actually know what the co-main is because the UFC's website is saying it is Rafa Garcia versus Alexander Hernandez, but Tapology, Sherdog, and Google are saying it's Norma Dumont versus Jocelyn Edwards, and Kelby found something that says it's is it Mauricio?
Yeah, fucking like Mauricio.
Marcus Buchecha versus Ryan Spann. So I don't think it's that.
No.
But we are going to go with what the UFC website says. So if we are wrong, it's because they are wrong. And we're going to talk about Rafa Garcia's taking on Alexander Hernandez.
Yeah.
The big story of this Alexander Hernandez was supposed to fight Michael Johnson a couple weeks ago. The fight gets pulled due to a betting scandal.
Yeah.
Michael Johnson rebooked immediately into his fight. Scandal probably means it wasn't with him. Alexander Hernandez, I remember a week of, it was something like he was saying he was going to fight injured, push through the fight, so maybe that was why it was pulled. Some insider trades because people, maybe his teammates or someone in his gym knew he was injured. Something weird. But here he is, clearly, going back in a fight. He's not suspended, so glad to, hopefully that means there's no gambling, nothing illegal going on, because I'm a big fan of Alexander Hernandez. And he's coming off of a, 3-4 fight win streak of Austin Hubbard, Kurt Holba, Chase Hooper, Diego Ferreira. Hoffa Garcia is clearly a different name than all those, the closest being Ferreira. What do you think?
For this fight, that we're still doing that Hernandez versus Garcia, right?
Yeah, Hernandez, Garcia.
This is one of those true barn burner fights. Hernandez is known for his explosive first round and high level wrestling. Garcia is the Mexican Zombie is his nickname, which I love that. But he's very well observing damage and he keeps coming forward. So this is really going to be a battle between Hernandez's athleticism against Garcia's durability. It's one of those kind of true old school Titan fights.
Where do you see his nicknames, the Mexican Zombie?
I saw it on X one time. People were calling Mexican Zombie.
Huh. On Tapology it says Gifted, but I like the Mexican Zombie more. So, boy, that's such a badass name.
Yeah.
Where is that? Hoffa Gifted Garcia. I'm like, okay, that's not as cool.
Yeah. I don't know if he even knows that they're calling him that, but I find it hysterical. Well, let me just get right back into it. DraftKings predictions, because I'm trying to do my whole DraftKings on every single fight, just do a little insight on that. Hernandez is coming in at a plus 160 underdog, which for me is a great value here because of his wrestling and his speed. That should allow him to get at least 2 takedowns, I'm thinking, throughout the fight. And I think he would be able to get at least 2 10-9s throughout this fight. I'm still leaning towards decision on this one. But that's where I'm really, really leaning towards Hernandez as the underdog and putting the bet on him as my favorite underdog. Even though you were saying the main event was the best underdog bet, I'm leaning towards Hernandez.
I didn't say he was the best underdog. I said he's the most live underdog.
Most live. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, no. So Alexander Hernandez, for sure, this is going to be a barn burner, like you said. Tapology ranks Garcia the number 18 ranked lightweight, Hernandez that number 21, so pretty close. The recent wins of Garcia are Jared Gordon, Vince Pichel, and again, Chase Hooper, Diego Ferreira, out of the recent wins from both these guys is probably the best name. And that was the last win, Alexander Hernandez. And Hernandez has clearly fought the better competition of the two guys. The best fighter that Garcia has fought. Who's that? Is it Jared Gordon? Grant Dawson? Clay Guida would definitely be probably the best, but not in 2023.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Hernandez absolutely has fought the higher level competition. He fought Hanato Moicano in a losing fight. I think he can get it done. I think it's going to be Alexander Hernandez wins by violence.
Yeah, I can see Alexander Hernandez wins by violence. This is definitely one of those true all or nothing style it really makes for great UFC TV against somebody that has just a relentless, consistent pace with Garcia. This is one of those fights that everybody should tune into and watch out for. This is actually more and more thinking about. This is a really solid fight night card. And this is at the Apex, correct?
Yeah, this is at the Apex, and no, like I kind of mentioned, like this is a sneaky good card. Like not the highest level names, but you actually start looking through it. You look at the matchups, and they're like, okay, that's a good name.
Yeah.
Okay, this guy's making a debut. He's pretty good. All right, this guy has this going on. All right, these are some good fights together. Let's keep going down unless you have anything else on the Hernandez fight. The next fight is Davy Grant versus Adrian Luna Martinetti.
Okay.
So the Englishman versus the Ecuadorian. How do you pronounce this guy's name? I am sorry. Adrian Luna
Martini. Is it Martinetti? Yeah.
Makes his UFC debut. He coming off that win on the Contender Series over Mark Vogliden.
Yes.
Who actually did fight on last week's card. We just didn't cover it. He was in the draw on the second fight of the card, which I believe was a pretty good fight. I didn't watch that one.
Yeah.
Taking on Davy Grant, and my computer is not pulling up my tab on Davy Grant.
My deep insight on this fight is the 40-year-old veteran Davy Grant is still one of the most, well, I shouldn't say most, but he's definitely an exciting fighter on the roster. He faces Martinetti, who is looking to make a name for himself. Grant's toughness and unconventional striking is always a wild card in this fight, though. Martinetti, he tries to keep it fast paced. He tries to keep it moving. He moves left to right pretty well. I don't know too much about him outside of that, besides the one contender series fight I've seen from him. They even the betting books has no idea who's going to win this fight. Grant at a negative 110, slightest, ever so slight favorite. Um, I lean toward Grant just because of his experience. But anytime when you get up to 40 years old, I want to lean. Then I start thinking more about it. I want to lean towards the younger guy coming up and trying to make a name for himself. He has more to prove than Grant does.
For sure, for sure. Let's talk about Davey Grant just really quick. You,
Yeah,
you mentioned veteran, you mentioned 40. Let's talk about some of the wins. He's 8-7 in the UFC, so this, you know, not almost 500, but 15 fights in the UFC. He's tough. Ready for some of these wins because
go
it goes
for it.
all the way back to 2016.
Yeah.
His first win in the UFC. Do you know who that was against?
Gosh, I have what? Who would that be against?
Marlon Cheeto Vera.
Wow. I mean, you're going
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, back in 2016, he goes forward, he trades some wins, trades some losses, kind of going up his, but, he then, two performance bonuses in 2020, 2021, with knockout wins, then a fight of the night loss against Marlon Vera.
Yeah.
This time these guys were both in the rankings towards the bottom 10 in the 10 to 15 range of bantamweight. His next fight, Adrian Yanez, in another fight of the night where he lost a split decision, bounces back with wins over Louis Smolka and Rafael Asuncao, grabbed a performance of the night bonus on that submission win over Asuncao, continues on, with names nowhere near as big as those of before. Wins, loses to Daniel Marcos, beats Ramon Tavares, beats Damone Blackshield, then lost against, our guy we were shouting out last week, Charles Jourdain. And now he takes on Adrian Marinetti, who, I can't say how good this guy is. He's only lost once, though.
Yeah.
Way back in 2017, was his third fight.
Yeah.
Um, this guy, I can't say how good it is going to be, but he is getting his metal tested right away in the bantamweight division for the UFC.
Yeah. One thing I said is we will see how well he does. I'm rooting for him. I hope he gets the win. We need some new guys to keep coming up in the bantamweight division, and you can never complain about that. Yeah.
So, according to the UFC, our next one, also in the bantamweight division, we have number 14th ranked Montel Jackson taking on Hani Barcelos. So, this is a good fight. 10-4. Hani Barcelos takes on 9-3. Always UFC numbers.
There we go. Yeah.
Montel Jackson coming off a split decision loss to Davison Figueiredo. Barcelos coming off of a 4-fight win streaks over the likes of Christian Quinones, Peyton Talbot, Cody Garbrandt, and Ricky Simone. He is on a tear. The last time he lost was Kyler Phillips.
Yeah. My quick note on this fight, Montel Quick Jackson. This dude has an absurd 75.5 reach for bantamweight division was the big thing. I was like, wow, that's insane. He uses that really good too. He's great. He likes to do a lot of the neck snatching, bringing him in, and then he loves to do long straight jabs and then crosses.
Yeah.
He doesn't get too
He
fancy.
knows how to use his range, and then he just
Yes.
cranks in those elbows, cranks in those punches.
Yes.
He's dangerous. This is I'm going to call it fight of the night.
Yeah, this easily could be a fight over the Barcelos. I mean, he's a very, very savvy veteran with a high-level black belt with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he has heavy hands also, but he is nearing the end of his prime. That's the only kind of funny issue about it, but this is either way. This is going to be one of those another barn burner of fights. DraftKings predictions. Jackson is a negative 250 favorite just because of his DraftKings thinking because of his youth and physical advantage should be the difference maker here on their keynotes on DraftKings.
I mean, I don't think. Oh, of course, my thing's freaking out.
Only thing I will say is this is another.
Harney Barcelos.
Huh?
How old is Harney Barcelos? He's 38.
Yeah,
Yeah, so 38 years old is a little bit old, especially in the lighter weight division. So maybe he's starting to slow down. And against a long range, fast hands guy like Montel Jackson, that's dangerous. But he ain't, Barcelo's like he is not to be
No.
underestimated. He's keeping relevant in
Yeah,
this division. I mean, they're at the bottom of the division, but they are not the bottom. They're not in the ranked part of the division. Montel is.
yeah,
And Barcelo's just trying to take that ranking from him.
yeah. Yeah, that's true. One thing I'll say is Montel Jackson is definitely one of the most underrated contenders at 135. He rarely ever gets the spotlight, which does kind of suck, but he has one of the highest finishing rates in the whole division, which needs to be a key point on this fight. I mean, the man gets the job done.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, I would say his loss to Davison Figueiredo kind of hurt that stock a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, like, he's beaten Julio Arce. He's beaten Honey Yaha. Damon Blackshear was a good win. But yeah, and you look at his stuff, you look at some of the canceled bouts he's had in the UFC. I see Chris Gutierrez in there. I see Saeed Nurmagomedov in there. I see Farid Basharat in there. So again, I think the problem with Montel Jackson is he's not racking up those notable names in that division to really push himself up there, but he's ranked.
Yeah.
Unlike Honey Barcelos, who, again, like I said, he is putting those names together. Or like I said, the 4-fight win streak he's on. Christian Quinones, Peyton Talbot, Cody Garbrandt, Ricky Simone. All of them names, all of them good. None of them ranked, but a former champion in there. That's nothing to scoff at.
No, nothing to stop off at all.
And Cody, we know his weaknesses, but he can still knock your block off. Like,
Oh, yes.
let's not.
Oh, yes. No, this whole card's going to be a full card full of barn burners. That's the biggest insight that we have for this whole main card. Even though we have no idea what the order is, or even if these fighters are actually fighting. But
I look forward to the order of this fight. But now let's talk about what the UFC has, like the not the opener of the prelim or the main card, but the second one, which everything else says is the co-main event. And frankly, I hope it's the co-main
is
event
the women's bantamweight?
because the women's bantamweight, we
Yeah.
have number 3 Norma Dumont taking on number 11 Jocelyn Edwards.
Yes.
Norma Dumont, 9-2 in the UFC. Her only losses to Megan Anderson and Macy Chiasson. She is currently on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-fight win streak. Her last wins coming off of Caitlin Vieira and Irene Aldana. Meanwhile, Jocelyn Edwards, 8-4 in the UFC on a 4-fight win streak. Her last losses being against Aline Perez. Her most recent wins being over Nora Cornole and Priscilla Cachuera.
Yes. Want me to take it over?
Jocelyn Edwards is good, and she
Yeah.
shouldn't be underestimated. But Norma Dumont has it. I think she has this fight, and she's trying to get a bantamweight title fight. She's building the streak, and unfortunately, bantamweight's going to be a little, you know,
A little
bantamweight's
bantamweight's
bantamweight.
bantamweight.
They're waiting on the Kayla Harrison fight, but it is what it
Yeah.
is.
Dumont is definitely a very powerful wrestler striker hybrid who recently just got into the top 5. Edwards, she's very, very rangy kickboxer who likes to keep the fights on the outside. But for me, Dumont's path to victory for this fight is definitely clearly through to try to keep the clinch good, try to gain top control and win that way. They do have Dumont as a heavy negative 300 favorite. And I don't know. I think it's just because of her strike advantage and her grappling exchanges could be overwhelming for Edwards.
Yeah, I mean, Jocelyn Edwards is good. I don't want to
Yeah.
discount that. And
If Dumont gets the win here, is she the next title shot against Kayla Harrison? If that fight works out.
well, I mean, she should. So Kayla is fighting Amanda. The problem is whoever wins that fight's most likely going to retire. Above Norma is Juliana Pena and Raquel Pennington. She hasn't fought either one of them. Caitlin Vieira is right below her. She's already beaten Caitlin Vieira. And so you look at the rankings again. So Juliana Pena or Raquel Pennington fought Juliana Pena for the belt when Pena was champion, lost. And Juliana Pena fought Kayla Harrison and lost. So the two people above her are kind of on. Are they both coming off losses, basically? Yeah.
Yes.
Pena's last win was, or Pena's last win was Juliana. Oh gosh, Pena's last loss was her last fight, and Raquel's last loss was her last fight. So both of them coming off losses here. Norma Dumont's #1 contender after the Kayla versus Amanda fight. The problem is they're probably going to retire
Yeah,
after that fight, and also I mean, again, I guess, if that's what happens, we need to do Juliana Pena versus Norma Dumont for the belt, because that would have been the next fight
yeah,
that happened anyways had Kayla not come over. But it would feel a little bit weird at this point, and I don't know if Dumont can beat Kayla.
yeah.
I don't think she has that ability, but I want to see what she has to handle against Jocelyn Edwards. And hey, for Edwards, quick way to jump to the top of the division and start fighting these and get some notable fights here.
I'm kind of excited that Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes are most likely going to be out of the UFC just for the fact of Bantamweight division's health, that we needed another new champion in there. We needed some new faces to come up, and we needed to see what happens. We already know how great Kayla Harrison is. We already know how great Amanda Nunes is. There's no.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree and I kind of disagree with what you said. They're both great. It's not that I would be glad to see them leave. I wish Kayla was able to come over a little sooner.
Yeah,
I wish there was a 145-pound division that was actually, a real division, so Kayla could fight in a division that more suited her instead of death cutting down to 135 so she can just be in the UFC. Like, especially this Amanda Kayla fight. I don't see why that should be 135. Make that 145. They were both the
yeah,
problem is the women's featherweight division doesn't exist.
no,
They don't even list it on the UFC page anymore. But like what you're saying though is also true, because these two women, they just completely dominate. It's same with Shevchenko.
yeah,
I like Shevchenko, but I'm kind of ready for her to kind of move on just so we can get a live
yeah,
division turnover again. But like we said that, and when hey, light heavyweight's been a mess ever since John Jones left, and
yeah,
it's been constant turnover, and it's exciting, but it's also not great. But like you kind of had the same thing at middleweight once Izzy left. It's like but then Pereira kind of came through, and I guess there was more after Izzy lost the title the second time. You know what I mean? And the Strickland Duplessis just bouncing around. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But end of the day, it's a good fight. I'm excited for it. And yeah, no, I kind of wish they would. I want to see the Kayla fight, but yeah, Kayla. If she beats Amanda Nunes, do I have a necessarily strong appetite for Kayla Harrison versus Norma Dumont? No, I can't say I do. But like for Raquel Pennington, I want to see her get back in there, and I want to see Juliana Pena get back in there. And if either one of them want to fight Norma Dumont, I'll happily take that fight.
Yeah, no, we'll happily take that fight. And still, no disrespect from me whatsoever for Kayla Harrison and Manny Nunez. It's just literally just for the fact, for me personally, just how dominant they have been for so long. Even with Manny Nunez just kind of
Yeah.
coming back, but still.
Yeah, it's like it's I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
but let's get on to the last fight we haven't talked about yet.
Okay.
Ryan Spann takes on Marcus Buchecha. Now, do you know who Marcus Buchecha is?
A little bit from what I have looked into him. Let me pull up the notes on him. Um, he's a 13-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion who has successfully transitioned into the UFC world. I do know that much about him. Dude's a fantastic on the
Damn,
ground.
damn right
Yeah.
he is.
Savage. Big
The
name in the
problem
BJJ
is
world. Big name.
huge name, and he was over in one championship as well. He went
Yeah.
5-1. Now I don't, like
Yeah.
no, he has a win over Anderson Silva. Not that Anderson Silva, but he did beat an Anderson Silva in one
Yeah.
championship.
He did.
I'll just look at the rankings. He went 5-1 in one championship, and then hella wins in the what do you call it? Grappling. He did lose to Jordan Ryan in his last ADCC World Championship, but Buchecha is good. But in the
He is.
UFC, he is 0-1-1 with draws to Kennedy Nezjeku and a loss to Martin Boudet. He now takes on Ryan Spann, and this is a light heavyweight fight, correct? Oh no, this is a heavyweight fight, right?
Okay.
Heavyweight.
My notes, I put down light. Okay, this was a weird one for me. I put down
Was
light heavyweight slash heavyweight fight because I gotten two different answers for that question.
so Ryan Spann, I thought went down to light heavyweight. And on UFC, it says this is a heavyweight bout, so I'm gonna
Is
go
it a
ahead
catch
with
fight
that.
maybe? I don't know, but
No, it says it's a heavyweight fight. Ryan Spann, I thought went down to light heavyweight, or yeah, because he or no, he went up from light heavyweight. That's what I'm
yeah.
thinking. So that's why I was confused. So yeah, and then Buchecha, yeah, no, he was a heavyweight. So yeah, hasn't gotten a win in the UFC yet from the amazing grappler, and Ryan Spann's good. He has power. He's beaten Johnny Walker. He's beaten Anthony Smith. Yeah. He lost to Johnny Walker. He's beaten guys like Nogueira, obviously in 2019. That's a different win. He's beaten Dominic Reyes, even though Reyes' chin's kind of questioned. He's beaten Kudalaba. He's beaten Serkinov. He's beaten Alvey, but he's lost to Johnny Walker. He's lost twice to Anthony Smith. He's lost to Krylov. He's lost to Guskov. He beat OSP in 2024, and they gave him Performance of the Night for that, but what's a 2024 OSP? He did lose to Waldo Cortez Acosta. Is coming off of a win against Lukacs Bresky. Ryan Spann's not a. I feel bad for saying this. He's not an amazing fighter. He's 9-6 in the UFC, and he was on a 4-fight win streak not that long ago. He's chinny, but I don't think Buchecha is going to be landing strikes on him.
No,
Is
no,
the
no, no.
problem?
He's not. Ryan Spann is definitely the definition of a typical power puncher. He either gets the knockout on his opponents
He's a
or
wrestler. Though. He's a wrestler that doesn't use it and just tries to
correct.
bomb, but he has his chin wide
Yeah.
up in the air.
Yeah, he either
So
gets knocked out by his opponents early or well no, he either knocks out his opponents early, my bad, or he gets caught all the time. Which is the funny
yeah,
thing. This is I don't know, this is one of those true striker versus grappler matchups where Ryan Spann this is actually the time where Ryan Spann should use his hands more than
well, absolutely,
yeah.
because I don't think Buchecha is going to he has to take Ryan Spann down,
Yeah.
which is going to be hard.
Yeah.
Um, but that's the thing. And Buchecha, he just hey, I haven't seen the guy win the UFC yet, so let's see how good he is.
Yeah.
Ryan Spann, I like at one point. I was pushing for him to get up those rankings and take on get in the light heavyweight title picture. And then he hit that 4-fight losing streak, and just I knew it wasn't going to happen. He moves up to heavyweight. You know, I don't. The problem was he was chinny, and then he moved up to a division where he gets hit more, and he's not particularly fast.
Yeah.
So, that's the problem of Spann. I don't have a lot of high side on Ryan Spann anymore. And again, but it should be a winnable fight for Buchecha if he's going to be anything in this heavyweight division. And like my Josh Hokick video last week, I think the UFC is going to be shelling out bonuses for these heavyweight guys that have names from outside sports or trying to push these guys up. Marcus Buchecha, if he can choke out Ryan Spann, I think he gets a performance bonus no matter how else the rest of the stuff on the card's good, unless there's just something completely undeniable.
Yeah. Buchecha's coming in at a plus 125 underdog. Spann is definitely still dangerous early on in the fights, but the skill gap on the ground, even with Spann's knowledge on grappling, Buchecha definitely has a much higher ceiling than Spann does. But for some reason, for both fighters, I'm looking at a submission victory. I don't see a KO. It's either going to be submission victory by Buchecha.
You think Spann might hurt him on the feet, then choke him out?
Correct. I think it's either going to be a submission victory by either or just goes a distance. I just don't see this being a knockout fight. I'd stay away from that.
I don't think Ryan Spann can submit Marcus Buchecha without severely hurting him.
Correct. Correct. I think that's If Buchecha gets hurt too much, I think he's just going to go to the ground. I think he's just is going to end up on the ground.
But to be fair, if Ryan Spann hurts Buchecha on the feet, he should just go right in the ground and pound. He should not try to engage on the ground with Buchecha.
I totally agree. Totally agree.
Yeah, like so. I know you're predicting it. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I don't think it would. I don't think there's going to be a clean knockout in this,
No.
unless it's Ryan Spann getting knocked out, which I would be kind of surprised by. End of the day, I'm gonna pick Buchecha because I want Buchecha to win.
Ryan Spann being on a 4-fight losing streak, I'm picking Buchecha.
He's not on a 4-fight losing
Oh, not
streak
4-fight,
anymore.
not
Like he
anymore.
was
But
recently.
I think Buchecha. For some reason, I'm really rooting for a lot of these BJJ guys to come over and they're really solid and keep coming over
You
and
just want
fighting
some
with me.
excitement in there. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like I agree with what you're saying, though. They do need to get their stand up and takedowns better.
correct.
But I think that is a card. Unless there's anything on the prelims you want to talk about. Adolfo Vieira's on there, Eric McCock. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. Um,
Yeah,
Myra Silva's fighting Michelle Montague, which would be a
yeah, be a
fun
good fight.
fight, and Cedric Dumas also fighting Jackson McVeigh. Sorry, and I don't know which one of them has the better hair, but I hope they are landing on each other's head, just so you see explosions of hair in that fight.
Yep, yeah. It's a fun, underrated card. Really great for Apex card.
It was a good Apex card,
Yeah.
and with that,
Hit it.
see ya.